Hey everyone, Skull902 here for another part of Sonic Mania, and fuck Oil Ocean Zone. Fuck Oil Ocean Zone. Fuck Oil Ocean Zone, man. Fuck it. So, as you can no doubt tell, I'm not a fan of Oil Ocean Zone, not from Sonic 2 and not from Sonic Mania either. You know, they improved the seahorses. They, well, a little bit. They added what I assume has to be a reference to Some Call Me Johnny's Sonic 2 review, which is actually a pretty nice touch, actually, when, like, you know, you go into the oil with a fire shield on and, you know, the oil flames up and stuff. That, I don't know if they confirmed it, but it absolutely has to be a review, or a reference to that review. But Oil Ocean is just never a zone that I really liked all that much. The aesthetic, you know, I'm not into. The enemies could be better, especially those fucking seahorses. That being said, again, the seahorses are a bit of an improvement over Sonic 2. I would take these seahorses over the Sonic 2 ones, essentially. But and even the music, man, like. The original and this one, like, the Oil Ocean song just doesn't sound all that good, so yeah, we're getting Supersonic's theme again. It's one of these parts of the game where I just can't not go through it as Supersonic, because I just do not like this zone that much. But instead of just constantly bitching all throughout, because I know that would be a total drag, I want to mention something that I forgot to get to, both in the Hydro City part, as well as last part, when I promised to mention it. The first phase of the Hydro City boss battle. I just wanted to explain quickly how that works. So, you're going through, like, a water tunnel, essentially, where Robotnik's chasing after you. Meanwhile, you're trying to avoid things like spikes and blocks and stuff that are impeding your path to getting to the end, while you gotta grab air bubbles. Of course, if you have the bubble shield, you don't need to grab the bubbles until you lose the shield, or if you're supersonic, you know, you'll be invincible. If you're supersonic and have a bubble shield, like I believe I was during that part, then you're absolutely good to go. It's essentially just a timing thing until you get to the real part, like the washing machine part. Wario here, speaking of bosses, he'll go from side to side, swing his wrench, and then I believe what happens afterwards, like if he wasn't so easy as fuck to beat, even without Supersonic, is that, like, the little things will burst up. They're almost like manhole covers, kind of. They'll burst up, and you have to stand on the two in the middle, because if not, you'll get crushed. Or at least hit. I'm not sure if it's an insta-kill. It probably is, though, on the spikes. So, there we are. I actually mentioned the fucking mechanics of a boss battle during said boss battle. Ain't that cool? You know, just barely made it, but, yeah. So, now we're here in Act 2 of Oil Ocean, and, oh boy, elements of another zone that I'm not too fond of, Sandopolis. Throughout this act, you'll notice that the screen gets redder and, like, hazier. You'll have your vision obscured a bit, and, you know, it'll get darker and darker. At some point, after the like darkness reaches its maximum point, you'll start to lose rings, and I do believe I get to that point eventually, because the little levers here that you know, cool the zone down, essentially, start getting more spread out, more far apart, and all that. So you definitely got to watch out for those. I know the level design fairly well, so you know, I mean, having played this game a whole shitload of times, you know. So that's essentially the basic gimmick of this, is that your sort of time is limited. I do think it will kill you eventually. So you definitely got to watch out for that. In fact, it's happening right now. Of course, I have a bunch of time to kill, thankfully. But, you know, having a fire shield here will not protect you, of course. So it's like a battle of being able to withstand the heat. Essentially, it's if anyone who is watching this, like if you live in a southern U.S. state or somewhere with a warm climate like Mexico or whatever, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Having to survive the heat, you know, super hot temperatures. Something that's happening right now that will invalidate it and save you your rings, so long as you're not supersonic like I am, is going into these submarines that are strewn about the level. So that's a good way to avoid the wrath of the heat. It'll reset things. So when you get out, you won't be like in that sort of hazy state where you're in danger of losing your life. So that's a good thing. It's actually kind of interesting because the submarines come around later in the act, and they're closer together than the little pulleys are. So I guess what I said before is a little incorrect. You have just about as much opportunity, I guess, to get things together. And you do this, of course, until the boss comes around. It won't happen during the boss fight, which is coming up right now. And I have to say, this is my least favorite boss in the entire game. Fuck him. This little octopus guy, or well, this big octopus guy, he's like one of those giant variants of normal enemy type bosses. He'll do the normal oil ocean stuff, and then like he'll have like the little laser cannons of the Lava Reef mini boss from 3 and Knuckles. If you're normal Sonic, you have to take those out first, and then you know, you can get to the middle much easier. Again, I'll have to explain it more in the next part, but you know, that's essentially it. The platforms will come down. There's the oil on the bottom. I'll explain more later, but for now, we have to get going to the next part because we're going to Lava Reef Zone, so I guess that means we're going too. I hope you enjoyed that Shadow the Hedgehog reference. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next part. You know, I've been Skull902. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.